Have you ever walked into a room and felt a sudden, heavy shift in the air? It is that quiet, unmistakable moment when the conversation dies down and you realize, with a sinking feeling in your chest, that your presence has just changed the temperature of the room. You see the eyes that quickly turn away. You see the glances exchanged in silence. You hear the low murmurs that suddenly fade into forced smiles and polite nods. And you are left standing there, wondering what they were saying, whether they were measuring your worth, judging your path, or evaluating your standing in their eyes. It is a strange and isolating sensation, feeling like a stranger in a room full of people, and knowing that you are being discussed, yet never truly invited into the conversation. Chosen one, you know this experience all too well. You have felt the invisible wall that separates you from the crowd. You have seen the subtle shifts in body language when you walk by, and you have carried the quiet ache of being the one who is watched but never truly seen. It is the heavy, exhausting weight of being constantly observed, the discomfort of being noticed by everyone, yet understood by almost no one. You look at your quiet life. You look at your simple struggles, your hidden tears, and your daily endurance. You look at the slow, monotonous pace of your days, and you ask yourself in the silence of your heart, why does my presence make them so uneasy? What is it about the way I carry myself that makes them whisper when they think I cannot hear? Why can I not just walk through the world unnoticed? Why does my entry into a room feel like an event, even when I say nothing at all? You do not seek the spotlight. You do not seek their attention or their praise. You desire only to walk quietly, to do your work, and to live in peace. Yet there is an invisible spotlight that follows you wherever you go. It is a lens through which they watch your every move, waiting to see if you will falter. You try to fit in. You truly try to dress like them, to talk like them, and to value the things they value. You try to laugh at the jokes that do not make you laugh. You try to participate in the shallow chatter that leaves your soul feeling empty. You tell yourself that if you just mimic their laughter, if you just wear the same social mask, you might finally belong. You try to blend into the background, to become just another face in the crowd, and to wear the uniform of the common and the comfortable. But it never works. You are always the outsider, standing on the edge of the circle. Even in a crowded church building, even among your own family members who have known you since childhood, there is a barrier you cannot cross, an invisible boundary that keeps you apart. No matter how hard you try to speak their language, your voice carries a different accent. No matter how hard you try to walk their path, your steps fall to a different rhythm. You are in the room, but you are not of the room. They watch the way you live. They watch your quiet choices, your refusal to compromise, and your strange peace. They watch how you handle failure, how you respond to injustice, and how you remain silent under accusation. And they notice that you do not belong to their world. They see a difference they cannot define. And because they cannot define it, they fear it. And because they fear it, they whisper. They translate their confusion into criticism. They turn their discomfort into judgment. Because it is easier to whisper about you than to examine why your presence makes them so uneasy. Let us speak of a quiet Friday night. You are sitting alone in your room. The world outside is moving fast, filled with noise and celebrations. You scroll through your social media feed and see their pictures, their achievements, their gatherings, their promotions, and their shared joy. You see them laughing, raising glasses, and celebrating milestones. And a sudden, sharp ache rises in your chest. A low-grade, familiar grief, a feeling of being left out, left behind, and left alone. You look at your quiet room, your journals, and your unanswered prayers. You look at the silence that surrounds you, and you feel completely overlooked. forgotten in the shadows of a world that is running past you. You think to yourself, why am I still in this waiting room? Why does everyone else seem to receive their robe of honor and public celebration, while I am still left in these plain, dusty clothes of hiddenness? Why must my path be so narrow, so quiet, and so lonely? Chosen one, I want you to hear this clearly tonight. The whispers behind your back, the exclusion you feel, and the isolation that keeps you awake at midnight are not a sign of your defeat. They are not proof that God has forgotten you. They are the evidence of your set-apart identity. They noticed the way you dress, not the physical garments you put on your body, not the brand of your shoes or the style of your coat. They noticed the spiritual attire you wear. You walk through this life with a garment they cannot purchase, a quiet dignity woven from tears, a shield of humility forged in the fire of affliction, a robe of righteousness that God Himself tailored for you in the dark. Even in your brokenness, even when you feel weak and dusty, you carry the fragrance of the sanctuary. You carry the light of the presence of God. And that light makes the worldly observer deeply uncomfortable. It exposes the shallow nature of their own garments. It challenges their security. It shines into the dark places of their own hearts, revealing the vacuum they try to fill with noise. They do not know how to categorize you, so they try to diminish you. They try to reduce you to a topic of gossip. They try to label you as proud, as distant, or as strange. But you cannot be reduced. The garment you wear was not made by human hands. It was designed by the Creator of the ends of the earth. Chosen one, we must pause here for a moment. This is a divine interruption, a holy space created just for you in the quiet of this night. If you have felt these whispers, carried this heavy weight of isolation, or had your heart bruised by the judgments of those who see only the surface, I want you to make a declaration of faith right now. Do not scroll past this moment. Do not let the enemy tell you that this isolation is your prison. It is your protection. It is the workshop where your garments are being finished. Write these words in the comments below. My garment. Write it as a decree to the spiritual realm. Write it to let heaven know that you recognize the hand of the master tailor on your life, that you are ready to wear what He is making for you, even if the world does not understand the fit, that you will no longer seek to wear their rags, but will stand tall in the robe He has prepared. Who are the ones who watch you? They are not strangers, chosen one. They are the people in your daily life, the colleagues at your workplace who watch your quiet diligence, the peers who evaluate your performance, looking for a flaw in your shield, the relatives who look at your life and ask in whispers, why isn't she married yet? Why is his career still stuck in the same place? What is he doing with all that quiet prayer and solitude? Why does she refuse to play the political games at the office? They watch you the way spectators watch a play. They watch you with a mixture of curiosity, confusion, and subtle judgment. They wait for the moment you slip. They wait for the moment you admit defeat and confess that your path was a mistake. They look at your outer appearance and see only the dust of the road. They see the fatigue on your face and the simplicity of your life. They see the empty chair at their social tables. They see the lack of worldly credentials, the lack of public promotions, and the silence of your seasons. And they whisper, they are not going anywhere. Their faith is a delusion. They are wasting their potential in that quiet, hidden life. It is a heavy thing to live under a microscope, to feel the constant, silent judgment of those who look but cannot see, and to be appraised by people who use the wrong standards to measure your worth. They measure your season of tailoring by the standards of their season of consumption. And because they do not understand the process, they assume you are failing. But there is a scene in the ancient scriptures that explains exactly what is happening in the spirit realm right now. In the book of Zechariah, chapter 3, we find Joshua the high priest. He's standing before the angel of the Lord. He's performing his sacred duties, standing in the place of mediation. But he is not wearing royal robes or clean linen. He is wearing filthy garments, caked with the dust of exile and stained with the failures, sins, and limitations of his generation. He represents a broken people, and his clothes show the marks of the struggle. Standing at his right hand is the accuser, Satan, ready to point out his rags, resist him, argue against his calling, and say to the Lord, "Look at how he dresses. Look at his stains. He is unfit for the sanctuary. He is too dirty to serve the Holy One. He does not belong in this room of honor." The accuser noticed his garments. He ignored Joshua's heart and calling, focusing entirely on the dust of the road. And he was speaking words of condemnation, attempting to disqualify him. But what did the Lord do? The Lord did not agree with the accuser. He did not look at Joshua's rags with disgust. He did not reject Joshua because of the dirt on his clothes. Instead, he rebuked the accuser, and he commanded those standing by, "Take off his filthy clothes." And then he looked at Joshua and said, "See, I have taken away your sin, and I will put fine garments on you." He did not ask Joshua to clean himself. He did not ask him to purchase new robes. He did it himself. He removed the rags and clothed him in glory. Chosen one, this is the pattern of heaven. The accuser speaks of your rags, but God is already preparing your robes. The world whispers about your current lack, but the Father is focusing on your ultimate design. There was a man who understood this deep preparation through suffering. His name was C.S. Lewis, a brilliant scholar who spent his life studying literature and faith at Oxford. He knew what it felt like to be criticized by his peers for his simple faith. He knew the isolation of being an intellectual who chose to write about the simple gospel. In his writings, Lewis captured this truth in a single, powerful sentence. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Read those words again in your heart. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Your current hardship includes the dusty road you are walking, the whispers you are enduring, the feeling of being stripped of everything, the rejection in the workplace, the confusion in the family, and the long silence of the waiting room. It is not your destruction. It is the tailoring of your extraordinary destiny. It is the heavy pressure that forces the character of Christ to form in your heart. Without the hardship, there is no depth. Without the heat, there is no purity. Imagine a master tailor at work. When you walk past the window of his shop, you only see the scraps of fabric on the floor. You see the sharp shears cutting the cloth, dividing what once seemed whole. You see the needle piercing the fabric again and again, leaving tiny wounds in the linen. To an untrained eye, it looks like destruction. It looks like the cloth is being ruined and torn apart. If the fabric could speak, it might cry out in pain under the blades of the shears. But the tailor has a pattern. He has a blueprint in his mind. He knows exactly what the finished garment will look like. He knows how it will drape over the shoulders, catch the light of the grand ballroom, and protect the wearer from the cold. He keeps the fabric hidden in the back room, away from the dust and curious eyes, until the final stitch is completed. He does not show the half-finished work to the public, because they would only criticize the raw edges. Chosen one, you are currently in the tailor's back room. The pain you feel is the needle piercing the fabric. The isolation you endure is the cutting away of old attachments. The whispers of the observers are just the noise outside the shop. They are judging a work in progress, but the Master has not yet revealed the final design. God is not ignoring you. He is fitting you for a weight of glory, that requires a custom design, a design that cannot be mass-produced. Chosen one, the tailoring is taking place right now. Even as you listen to these words, the Holy Spirit is removing the filthy rags of human approval. He is sewing the threads of divine character into your soul. He is preparing you for a room you have not yet seen. The accuser says you are unfit. The observers say you are lagging behind. The whispers say you are forgotten. But God says you are being prepared. If you can feel the needle, trust the Master's hand in this hidden workspace and rest in the knowledge that the shears are guided by love. I want you to release your declaration of faith. Type in the comments right now, I am set apart. Let this be your seal of trust. Let it be the answer to the whispers of the observers. Let the spiritual realm hear that you do not fear the shears of the tailor, because you know the glory of the garment that is coming. You trust the pattern maker. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 10, we find a promise that shines like gold in the dark, a promise that speaks directly to the soul that has felt naked, cold, and abandoned in the wilderness. The prophet writes, I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness. Chosen one, do you hear that? He has covered you, not with a temporary cloak to hide your shame or a cheap patch to cover your wounds, but with a royal robe of righteousness. This robe is your protection. It is a garment of favor that speaks for you in rooms you have not yet entered. It is the clothing of a child of the King, custom fitted for your specific assignment. It carries the authority of the throne, and it cannot be stained by the hands of men. When the observers look at you and whisper, they are looking at the external circumstances. They see the simple clothes, the dusty road, and the solitary walk. But God wants you to look at the robe He has placed upon your spirit. It is a robe of salvation, untouched by their gossip, secure in the hands of the Father. It is a robe that shines with the light of eternity, concealing your flaws and displaying His grace. But before the robe is placed on your shoulders, the old rags must be stripped away. The garments of your past must be removed. And this stripping process is where many chosen ones stumble. This is where the fear of the dark and the pain of loss begin to overwhelm the soul. It is the moment when God allows the relationships you relied on to fall apart. It is the moment when the doors you knocked on, hoping for ease, remain slammed and double-bolted. It is the moment when the security you built for yourself is systematically taken away. Finances grow tight, the friends disappear, and the reputation you worked so hard to protect is clouded by misunderstanding. You feel naked. You feel exposed. You feel as though you are losing everything. You stand in the cold wind of the wilderness, wondering if God has turned His face from you. But God is not exposing you to destroy you. He's stripping you of the rags of human validation. He's removing the garments of compromise that you wore to keep the peace. He is taking away the old clothes of your past seasons, because those clothes are too small for the destiny that lies ahead. You cannot wear the robe of the palace while still clinging to the rags of the slum. You cannot carry the authority of the king while still begging for the crumbs of human acceptance. There was a writer and scholar who knew what it was to undergo this painful, transformative process. His name was C.S. Lewis. He taught at Oxford and Cambridge and understood the deep workings of grace upon a stubborn soul. He knew that God does not come to renovate us, He comes to rebuild us. In his classic book, Mere Christianity, he asks us to look at our lives not as simple objects, but as a living structure under construction. Lewis wrote these words: "Imagine yourself as a living house. God comes in to rebuild that house. At first, perhaps, you can understand what He is doing. He is getting the drains right and stopping the leaks in the roof and so on. You knew that those jobs needed doing, and so you are not surprised. But presently, he starts knocking the house about in a way that hurts abominably and does not seem to make any sense. What on earth is he up to? The explanation is that he is building quite a different house from the one you thought of. He intends to come and live in it himself. Chosen one, you thought God was just going to patch up your life, to fix a few minor problems, to stop the leaks of anxiety and patch the roof of your insecurity, to make you into a decent, comfortable little cottage where you could live in quiet peace, accepted by the world and untroubled by the wind. But he is building a palace. He is throwing out a new wing of spiritual authority here, preparing you to lead. He is putting on an extra floor of wisdom there, preparing you to counsel. He is running up towers of faith that can withstand the storm, preparing you to shield others. The knocking about hurts abominably. It feels like your very foundation is being destroyed, like your walls are being demolished. You look at the ruins of your plans and cry out, "Why, Lord?" But the master builder is not destroying you. He is expanding your capacity. He's preparing a dwelling place for his own glory. This palace is not made of gold and silver, which can be stolen. It is made of the fabric of humility. The world does not value this fabric. To the observers, your quietness looks like weakness. Your refusal to fight back looks like defeat. Your simplicity looks like failure. They see your refusal to boast as a lack of power. But the robe of humility is the strongest armor in the kingdom. It is woven with threads of patient waiting. It is colored with the dye of silent trust. And it is reinforced with the power of prayer. It is a garment that the enemy cannot penetrate because it has no pride for him to grasp. When you wear this robe, the arrows of rejection cannot pierce your heart. The whispers of the crowd cannot disturb your peace because your identity is no longer anchored in their opinion. It is anchored in the design of the Creator. You are secure in the Master's hands. Chosen one, you are being tailored for higher ground. The tight, uncomfortable fit of your current season, the pressure of waiting, and the restriction you feel exists because you are being prepared for elevation. God cannot send you to the palace in the clothes of the cottage. He cannot give you the weight of authority if you are still wearing the light fabric of compromise. So let the needle do its work. Let the builder knock down the walls that need to fall. He has not abandoned the project. He is closer to you now than he has ever been, watching the construction of your soul. If you are ready to stand in this process, trust the blueprint of the master builder, and refuse to crawl back to the slum of human approval, I want you to release your declaration of faith. Type in the comments right now, "I will not settle." Write it as a covenant with God. Write it to declare that you will remain on the tailor's table until the work is complete. That you will not settle for a cottage when God has designed you to be a palace. That you will let the builder knock, build, and expand until the glory of his presence fills every room. In the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4, we are taken back before the beginning of time, long before the foundations of the universe were laid down. The Apostle Paul writes, "For he chose us in him before the creation of the world, to be holy and blameless in his sight." Chosen one. Let that sink into your soul. Let the depth of that truth quiet the anxiety in your mind tonight. Before the earth had a name, before the oceans were measured or the stars were placed in their orbits, before a single whisper of accusation was ever uttered against you, God looked at you. He saw your entire journey, your quiet struggles, and your hidden tears. And he chose you. He did not choose you because you were perfect. He did not choose you because of your great performance, your credentials, or your wealth. He did not choose you because you fit into the crowd or please the religious elite. He chose you to be set apart, to belong exclusively to him. And at that very moment, in the councils of eternity, He designed the exact spiritual garment you are wearing today. It is an eternal design, tailored with divine precision. It was mapped out in the heavens, far beyond the reach of human judgment. And no human criticism, no office gossip, and no family exclusion can alter its pattern or rip its seams. But why does the world react so strongly to what you wear? Why do they whisper when you enter the room? Why are they so eager to find a flaw in your walk or mock the quietness of your life? Why does your silence feel like an accusation to them? It is because your garment is a reflection of the light of Christ, and light always makes the darkness uncomfortable. The whispers are not a sign that you are doing something wrong, chosen one. They are a sign that you are carrying something right. They are a reaction to the holy presence that dwells within your soul. The enemy senses the authority of your garment. He sees the seal of the Holy Spirit on your shoulders. He knows he has no legal claim over you. Because he cannot tear the garment off, he tries to convince you to take it off yourself. He uses the whispers, the cold shoulders, and the exclusion of others to make you feel ashamed of your difference. He wants you to trade the robe of the sanctuary for the rags of the crowd. But you must understand, chosen one, the reaction of the world is not a rejection of you. It is a spiritual reaction to the light you carry, and the darkness cannot overcome it. There was a scholar who understood how easily we settle for small, temporary comforts instead of the glorious things God has planned. His name was C.S. Lewis. He wrote The Weight of Glory, addressing a generation that was tempted to settle for survival and cheap pleasures. He pointed out that our struggle is not that we want too much, but that we are satisfied with too little. We are too easily pleased by the temporary praise of men. Lewis wrote these words: "If we consider the unblushing promises of reward, it would seem that our Lord finds our desires not too strong, but too weak. We are half-hearted creatures, fooling about with drink and sex and ambition when infinite joy is offered us, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he cannot imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea. We are far too easily pleased. Chosen one, you are tempted to settle for the simple cottage of human approval. You are tempted to go on making mud pies of social acceptance in the slums of criticism. You are tempted to compromise, to blend in, to talk like them and act like them just to keep the peace. You think, if I could just quiet the whispers, if I could just wear the same rags as everyone else, I would finally have peace and be accepted. But God is saying to you tonight, I have not called you to make mud pies in the slum. I have offered you a holiday at the sea. I have prepared a weight of glory that is beyond your imagination. He wants to clothe you with a glory that will last forever, a glory that will far outweigh the light affliction of this present moment. The whispers will fade, the critics will pass away, but the garment He has placed on you will remain. Do not trade your royal garment for the cheap, temporary fabric of worldly approval. You were made for something infinite. You were made for the courts of the King. The garment God has placed on you acts as a shield of light. When they whisper behind your back, the arrows of their gossip do not hit your soul. They strike the armor of light that covers you. They bounce off the shield of righteousness that God has provided. You do not need to defend yourself. You do not need to explain your life to those who only see the rags of the physical world. You do not need to argue with those who are blind to the spirit realm. The shield of light deflects the slander. It silences the voice of the accuser. It keeps your heart pure, soft, and loving in the midst of hostility. As you walk through the crowd, keep your eyes fixed on the King. Let the shield cover your thoughts, your emotions, and your path. You are protected. You are secure. The master tailor is your defender, and He will fight for you. Chosen one, the whispers you hear are evidence of your identity. If you belonged to their world, if you wore their rags and spoke their language, they would not notice you. They would not talk about you. But because you have been pulled out of the dark, your clothes are different. Your peace is different. It surpasses understanding. Your silence is different. It is full of power. Your joy is different. It does not depend on circumstances. If you believe that God is your shield, are ready to stop making mud pies in the slum and choose the holiday at the sea over the approval of the crowd, I want you to release your declaration of faith. Type in the comments right now, God is working. Let this be your shout in the quiet. Let the enemy know that your trust is unshaken, that you are keeping your garment clean while God works out His perfect design for your life, that you are resting in His protective light. In the first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9, we find the ultimate identity card of the set-apart believer, a description that completely shatters the labels the world has placed upon you. The apostle writes, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, His own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light." Chosen one. Look at the titles God has placed on you. Listen to the language of the kingdom. You are not a victim of the whispers. You are not an outcast wandering in exile, begging for a place to belong. You are a royal priest, a member of the household of God, selected before time began. And what do priests wear? They do not wear the clothes of a slave. They wear holy garments, designed for service in the presence of the King. Garments of beauty and glory, woven with clean linen and threads of gold. You do not wear the clothes of a slave anymore. You do not wear the garments of condemnation, failure, or regret. You wear the priestly robes of praise and the crown of His choosing. You have been brought out of the dark room of your past, out of the shadows where they tried to define you, lock you up, or evaluate your worth. And you have been placed in His marvelous light. The light that shines on your garment today is the light of the throne room, a light that no worldly shadow can extinguish. The hidden season of your life is drawing to a close. The long winter of the waiting room is coming to an end. The master tailor has been working in secret. He has kept you tucked away in the back room, far from the public stage, where the observers could not see the progress. They only saw the cutting of the shears. They only saw the scrap fabric on the floor. They thought your life was falling apart because they could not see the pattern on the table. But the final stitch is being laid down. The tailoring is almost complete. The raw edges have been hemmed and the loose threads have been trimmed. And God is preparing a secret unveiling. It will be a moment when He brings you out of the hidden closet and places you on the public platform. Not for your own pride, not to gloat over your enemies, but to display His workmanship, to show the universe what can be made from a soul that trusts Him in the dark. Those who whispered about you, those who judged your quiet path, mocked your plain clothes, and excluded you from their circles, will stand in absolute silence. They will see the beauty of the garment God has placed on you. They will see how His favor rests upon you, the texture of your faith, and the light of His presence. They will realize that the one they excluded was the one God was preparing to honor. Your vindication is not something you have to fight for. You do not need to make a speech or explain your journey. God Himself will present you to the room. He will make them recognize the work of His hands. There was an Oxford scholar, a man who looked at the human condition through the lens of eternity. His name was C.S. Lewis, a man who understood that what is visible in this physical world is only a temporary shadow. He knew that our physical bodies, our reputations, and our struggles are passing away, but the spirit is eternal. He reminds us of the true hierarchy of our existence. Lewis wrote these words, "You don't have a soul, you are a soul, you have a body." Read that slowly. Let the truth of it sink into the deepest parts of your heart. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body, chosen one. Your body may be weary from the journey. Your physical ears may be tired of the whispers and the quiet rumors. Your worldly reputation may be bruised by their opinions. Your feet may be sore from the long, dusty path of the wilderness. But your soul is the eternal reality. It is the part of you that will live forever in the presence of the Creator. The spiritual garment you wear is draped over your soul, not your physical flesh. And that soul is immortal, designed to dwell in the courts of the King. The opinions of those who whisper are temporary dust. They belong to the temporary realm of criticism, which will blow away like ash. But you live in the eternal realm of glory. The garment of your soul cannot be worn down by gossip. It cannot be torn by rejection or stained by slander. It is preserved in the light of heaven, guarded by the angels of the Lord. Realize who you are tonight. You are a soul clothed in the righteousness of Christ, a royal priest destined for higher ground, and no earthly voice can strip that away from you. I decree over you today, chosen one, the climax of your vindication has begun. The whispers behind your back are about to turn into absolute silence. The doors that were slammed in your face by human hands will be opened by the hand of God, and no man can shut them. And those who laughed at your waiting season, calling you foolish or slow, will watch in awe as God reveals the glory of His design in you. He is putting on you a garment of double honor. In the very place where you suffered shame, you will receive a double portion. In the very rooms where you were ignored and excluded, your voice will carry weight and your presence will bring peace. The master builder is stepping back to show his work. The tailoring is done. The unveiling is here. You are stepping out of the shadows, clothed in light, clothed in power, clothed in the absolute favor of the Almighty. Chosen one, the hour of your unveiling is at hand. The Father is placing the royal robe on your shoulders. He is silencing the accuser and putting your critics to shame. He is validating every tear you cried in secret, every prayer you prayed in the dark. If you can see the light of this new season, are ready to receive the robe of double honor, and trust the master tailor to bring you out, I want you to release your declaration of faith. Type in the comments right now, I receive it. Let this be your acceptance of the royal garment. Let the spiritual realm see that you are stepping into your priestly authority, that you are no longer hiding in the rags of shame, but walking forward in the glory of His design, that you receive the double honor He has prepared. Chosen one, let us return to the quiet of your room. Look around you. The walls are the same. The night outside is still dark, and the stars are still silent. The whispers in the physical world may not have stopped yet. The critics may still be talking. The relatives may still be questioning, and the office environment may still feel cold and distant. But something in you has changed. The heavy atmosphere that once choked your faith has lifted. The fog of confusion has rolled away. Your chest does not ache with the same weight of rejection. Your eyes do not look at their celebrations and successes with the same envy or low-grade grief. You finally understand what is happening in the invisible realm. You finally see the shears of the tailor as tools of love, not weapons of destruction. You see the blueprint of the master builder, and you realize that every demolition was necessary. You are no longer confused by the whispers. You know they are only noticing the way you dress. They are noticing the holy garments of the King. They are reacting to the fragrance of the sanctuary that clings to your life. Let the peace of God cover your mind tonight. Let His presence wrap around you like a warm, protective blanket, shielding you from the cold. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are simply being tailored for a glory that is yet to be revealed. Pray this prayer of clothing with me right now. Let these words settle in your heart, or repeat them silently as a decree of trust. Father in heaven, I thank you that you chose me before the creation of the world. I thank you that you have stripped away my filthy rags of human approval and worldly compromise, and that you are tailoring a custom robe of righteousness and double honor for my soul. I forgive those who whispered behind my back. I release the pain of being judged, excluded, and misunderstood. I choose to step off the stage of human validation and sit quietly in your cutting room, trusting your hands. Cover me with your shield of light tonight. Quiet my anxious thoughts with your gentle, soothing breath. Establish my identity in your eternal courts, far beyond the reach of human opinion. And let me sleep in the perfect security of your divine design. I wear your garment. I accept your path. I trust the Master Builder. Amen. Chosen one, the tailoring season is a sacred, holy space. It is a time when God draws you so close, away from the noise of the crowd, that you can hear the beating of his heart. The silence you felt in those long, lonely nights was not his absence. It was his concentration. He was leaning in, stitching the details of your character with absolute care. He is finishing his work. The day is coming when he will lead you out of the hidden closet and present you to the room. And when he does, the beauty of your preparation will shine so brightly, the texture of your garment will be so rich, that even your accusers will stand in awe and recognize the hand of God on your life. Remember the words of C.S. Lewis. There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. You are leaving behind the slums of criticism and the mud pies of social acceptance. You are leaving the cheap temporary garments of compromise, and you are walking toward the vast, beautiful sea of his glory. Sleep tonight with that hope anchoring your soul. The Master Builder has never failed a project, and he will not fail you. I decree peace over your night. I decree divine protection over your sleep. May the angels of the Lord guard the four corners of your room. May the shield of light deflect every spiritual attack, every nightmare, and every worry. May your dreams be filled with the whispers of his love, the patterns of your future, and the vision of his glory, instead of the whispers of the world. When you lie down, you shall not be afraid. When you sleep, your sleep shall be sweet, restorative, and deep. The Lord is your keeper, guarding your soul. The Lord is your shade on your right hand, keeping the heat of the battle away from you. He will preserve your soul from all evil. He will preserve your going out and your coming in, from this time forth and forevermore. You are clothed in light. You are set apart for glory. Rest, chosen one. Your Father is watching over the design, and the garment is almost finished. Chosen one, as we close this message, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, C.S. Lewis Sermons, and join our family. Do not walk this set-apart path alone. We are building a sanctuary of hope, faith, and eternal wisdom here for those who are called to the deep places of the kingdom. In our next message, we will explore the mystery of the silent season, why God slams the door on your plans right before the breakthrough, and how to recognize when He is preparing your ultimate elevation. You will not want to miss it. Turn on the notifications, keep your garment clean, and remember who you are. Until we meet again in the presence of the King, may His peace cover your soul.